Welcome to Podkey Slopcast, where token costs, model choices, and AI spend get a closer look. A lot of AI pricing talk sounds simple until you ask what you're actually paying for. The sticker price says dollars per token, but that can hide language penalties, tokenizer inflation, invisible reasoning costs, and agents quietly burning cash while doing almost nothing. One useful frame here is the 4 eras of token consumption. First came the all-inclusive phase, where flat subscriptions made usage feel basically free. Then the token maxing phase, where leaderboards rewarded raw volume and people pushed consumption as a badge of honor. After that, the mood flipped into token anxiety. Companies started capping usage, tightening approvals, and treating every extra token like a problem. The argument in this material is that both extremes miss the point. Unlimited use can reward waste, but hard caps can block experimentation that actually creates value. The more defensible position is the emerging token smart idea. Spend freely enough to learn, but judge it by outcomes and efficiency, not by vanity usage or blanket austerity. The biggest analytical mistake is assuming a token is a stable unit, like a kilowatt hour or a gigabyte. It isn't that clean. Take the so-called language tax. Non-English text can take 2 to 5 times as many tokens as English for the same content, with examples like Hindi, Thai, and Greek. That matters because a multilingual company may think it's budgeting for one workload when the tokenizer effectively turns it into a much larger one. This isn't a political claim, it's a measurement claim. If billing is per token and the tokenization is less efficient for some languages, then equal meaning does not produce equal cost. That doesn't automatically mean foul play by providers. Tokenizers are technical compromises, but it does mean any pricing comparison that ignores language mix is incomplete. There's a second problem with treating sticker price as reality. Providers can keep the dollar per million token number the same while changing what a token covers. The example here is Opus 4.7. A tokenizer change reportedly pushed token counts up by about 30%, and real bills rose roughly 12 to 27% even after caching offsets. If that holds, the economic effect is straightforward. The posted rate didn't move, but the amount of billable units needed for the same text did. So when people say model prices are flat or falling, you have to ask flat against what definition of a token, under what tokenizer, on what workload. That's not proof. Every tokenizer update is a hidden price hike. Some changes may improve performance or handling of certain text, but from a buyer's perspective, the only number that really matters is effective cost for the same job. Then there's reasoning cost, which is even harder to see because part of it is internal. The claim here is that models bill the reasoning layer at the higher output rate, and that internal thinking can run 4 to 20 times the visible prompt and answer tokens. So a response that looks like a tidy 400 token answer may actually involve something like 4,000 reasoning tokens behind the scenes. If that's true for a given model and task, users who estimate cost from visible chat length are badly undercounting. The trade-off is obvious. More reasoning can improve hard task performance. The problem is not that the model thinks, it's that customers may not realize how much invisible computation they're buying. The most vivid waste case in this set is the OpenClaw agent that reportedly ran for 2 weeks, ate 400 million input tokens, produced essentially no useful output, and cost about $1,500. That story matters less as an outlier than as a pattern. Machines can now talk to themselves, retry, reread giant histories, and wake up on cron schedules whether or not anybody benefits. The common spin sources listed here are believable: over-frequent scheduled jobs, endless conversation histories, and automations that keep producing activity without business value. The second-order effect is important. Agentic systems make waste less legible. With a human chat session, excess usage is easier to notice. With background agents, you may only notice when the invoice lands. The Teach-Produce Spin framework is a pretty good way to sort this out. Teach tokens are for experiments, context building, and learning how to use the system well. Produce tokens create actual deliverables like code, reports, or proposals. Spin tokens are the waste bucket, the loops and chatter that create little or no value. That framing avoids a common bad instinct, which is to cut costs by cutting everything equally. Teach tokens can look inefficient in the moment, but they may be exactly what helps a team find a better workflow. Produce tokens are the point of the exercise. Spin is what needs aggressive removal. So token smart doesn't mean minimal tokens. It means protecting the useful categories and eliminating the ones that only simulate work. This leads to the strongest metric in the whole discussion: cost per accepted task. Per token pricing is too easy to misread because token counts shift by language, tokenizer, context length, reasoning behavior, and retry patterns. Cost per accepted task roles in the messy reality: retries, revisions, checking, and human correction. That's much closer to what a business actually pays for a usable result. The example on model routing makes the point. Sonnet 5 was said to be 1.7 times cheaper per token than Opus 4.8, but it ended up costing more per task because it needed extra iterations. Opus 1 on total task cost. That doesn't prove expensive models are always cheaper in practice. It proves that a cheaper unit price can be false economy if success rates or iteration counts are worse. Model routing follows the same logic. Auto-routing tools are emerging, but the claim here is that human-guided routing still matters a lot, especially in software engineering, where deterministic performance is valuable. That sounds right, in the narrow sense that routing is only as good as the criteria behind it. If your benchmark is shallow, the router can optimize to the wrong thing. The usage statistics underline the scale of the problem. One user in the leaderboard era reportedly hit 280 billion tokens in a month, and agentic workflows can consume 5 to 30 times the tokens of a simple chat. McKinsey's estimate that 60% of an agentic task's cost comes from checking, refining, and regeneration fits the broader point that orchestration overhead is huge. The practical audit advice is refreshingly concrete. Run a weekend test and see whether bills move when nobody intended to use AI. Flag extreme input-to-output ratios and review scheduled jobs for output nobody actually uses. And if tools like Cloud Code/Doctor can catch stale skills, duplicate instructions, and bloated pre-prompts, that's useful because spin often starts in setup layers people stop noticing. The cleanest takeaway is that token budgets should be judged by value delivered, not by raw consumption or posted unit prices alone. Thanks for listening to Podkey Slopcast. This episode was generated by Podkey. Create your own at podkey.fm.